Hey there everyone, Luke here, and well, based on what we're seeing in this chapter, it does look like we are moving to that training arc. Although, like what Pyjams has said to me, it might take a little bit longer. But I'm glad that we get some kind of acknowledgement in this chapter that, hey, Nico is eventually gonna get back to her normal self, and the guys are actually gonna be like, okay, we need to start seriously putting in effort here if we're gonna actually protect this girl when she does get back, and when the villains start trying to resurrect Juru again, or at least attempt something like that. So yeah, I'm happy that we're sort of like moving more along in that general direction. So without further ado, let's start off this talk about chapter 211, which is titled Cartoon. Oh my god, I just now got the title, because there's going to be like references in this chapter. Well, the characters don't actually reference the series, but it's very clear that what happens to Khan in this chapter is that he clearly turns into like Luffy from One Piece, or one of those cartoon characters like Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, kind of going like all rubbery or like. You'll know as soon as you see it. But yeah, anyway, the chapter starts off with them actually training. So like I said, nice that they're actually acknowledging that with Mori saying to Wolf, like, want to reheat the pizza I made last night for breakfast. It was good, right? I've gotten into making a dough from scratch lately, but when you stretch the dough, you swirl your hands above your head like destructor. So basically referencing Dragon Ball Z there. I've not really watched Dragon Ball Z, but I do know about the destructor there. So it's kind of funny that they mentioned pizzas here, considering what's going to happen in the Egghead arc in the anime, with like Luffy taking Kizaru and Saint Saturn and just turning them into pizzas himself and just spinning them like pizzas now. Whilst this is Gear 5 form, which is essentially going into his cartoon form then. But yeah, Khan is just like completely wiped out here, and it's just like, oh guys, will you stop talking about stupid pizza and everything? I just get laid flat by YouTube powerhouses. You want to talk about pizzas of the whole thing? It's way too early for you guys to be fighting this seriously. And this is where Mori brings up the good point of like, hey, Khan, you did know that this was eventually going to happen, right? Yeah, sure, Nico's been like this way for over a year now, but now she's starting to get back into herself right now, so it means we all have to be ready, which means that we're all going to be training routinely, day in, day out at this point. As Wolf says to him, like, ain't about time you let me take you on one, so I can totally show you my new moves that I've got on you, and I can see through all your moves as well. As Mori says, like, okay, Wolf, okay, tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Once our battle against the Warlock Silver, then you'll be able to see, like, oh, if you can take me on, if you can become the alpha male, and take over my regiment. But of course, you know that is not going to happen. Mori's always going to be top dog in this situation. So as Mori and Wolf go away, Khan is just left there to wallow in his self-pity of like, okay, what have I got that's the advantage here, as opposed to Mori and Wolf? Okay, I've got the speed and aerial combat, but my problem is still durability, which I'm glad that they acknowledge that, because normally, under any circumstance, I would say speed outranks just physical strength, because you can just sip around the strength guy and be like, I can't hit him, and eventually wear the strength person out before you get a really good knock in them. But of course, what Khan likes, as it says here, is the durability. So while Mori and Wolf might not be as fast as Khan, they are still much more durable than he will ever be. So that's the problem that he has to deal with here. And he's like, okay, need to get to him, need to beef up my durability, need to beef up my durability. But of course, this being Witch Watch, the first thing that everyone goes to is like, hey Nico, do you have a spell that can do durability, that can increase my durability? And she's like, yeah, sure. As he's like, shock disease. As she says, oh, the spell has worked. You won't be any stiffer than you were before. Your body's just much better at absorbing impacts like you asked. as Khan says, okay, as long as I haven't lost my flexibility, that is perfect. But of course, any series that does this trope of like, oh, something, if only it was more durable, if only it was more durable, then this will probably fix all the problems. It's never gonna end well. Like, there's just gonna be things that are gonna be broken in their in the place of the thing. Sort of like, there's a series like I remember watching called Squid Girl, where these three scientists were had these game consoles, and the game consoles were just very fragile. So they were like, we'll make a new console that's so durable that it will never break. And every time the characters tried to use it, they couldn't because it was too stiff, and they ended up throwing it in walls with cracks under the pressure of just the console being durable. It's sort of like what's going to happen here. Like, Khan is like, okay, I may get hit by something, but it's okay, I'm durable, I'll be able to survive the impact here. And now he's gonna try and get his revenge on Murray and Wolf, as the TV starts talking about horoscopes, one of the one today being Scorpios, which is Khan's horoscope. Today will be one misfortune after another. Nothing good will happen, so you got to keep your head down and stay away from people. But as they're going to school, literally what the horoscope said starts happening. Khan gets immediately knocked over by a bicycle, but it's okay. It's natural. It's natural that he's durable at this point. And as he comes into the class, like several of the students are like, what the hell actually happened, man? As they just see like just the car with just like this tire line just spreading all over him, and it's just like, morning, guys. It's like, what the hell happened to you? That's all you have to say. You look like something terrible has happened. And it's like, oh, come on, don't say that. You'll bruise my ego. And yeah, you would have an ego if you're like, yeah, I survived being knocked down by a motorcycle. No big deal on my part. So with everyone gathered around the table, including Karu and Kukumi. I keep forgetting how to pronounce the name, but yeah, Kukumi. As they're all gathered around the table, Khan goes on and explains like, yeah, this is what happened. I used Nico's spell to become more durable than anything, and it's nice to actually seeing this classroom again after so long. Like, it's been like quite a while since we've actually been like, hey, they're actually in the classroom, obviously minus Nico, but that all changed very soon. But bottom line is, they're there and saying like, what made you think that it was a good idea on a school morning to do this card? And he says, yeah, I know I went and asked Nico to cast a spell on me, but it's not what I expected. I didn't expect anything like this to happen. If I do this, I smoosh my cheek, it will stay that way. So it's basically be like that, and it would stay like that even after his hands comes off. It feels like it's so gross. As Kara's like, wait, that doesn't even doesn't that hurt? As Kara says, yeah, no, my face not a bit. But could you guys not maybe not hurt my feelings about this? As Kakumi's just there like, poke, 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 poke. And if I picture like this, and Khan's was there like, yeah, that doesn't hurt at all or anything. But this is where Kakumi says like, how did you get it to go back to normal? As Khan explains like, oh, I tried leaving it, but it doesn't go back on its own. I guess it has to be reshaped. Which seems like an inconvenience, as Keigo says, oh, you're like one of those gorilla-shaped stretch balls that you could just punch forever, which I've never had one of those gorilla stretch balls. I've never even seen the store I work at, which, hey, if they do exist, I'd love to see a picture of one. But yeah, I guess you would have like if you did have like a gorilla stretch ball, that's all you'd be doing, just be punching at it. As Kara says, like, oh, you don't feel any pain. You've got not just the face of a monster, but the nerves of one too. But that's okay. I'll fix it up for you and everything. Because Karen is like, yeah, thanks, but would you not treat my face like some kind of toy car? But of course, it's where everyone starts treating it like some sort of toy, as they start mushing it back into place. But before long, homeroom's is about to start, so we gotta go late. We gotta go late. As Karen's just there, like, are you kidding me? We spent all this time going after my face, and now you guys are just gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone now, but we're gonna go now. So we might be back later, we might not, but that just is up to how we actually feel here, because you can tell like people who are actually like messing with his face are probably having the time of their life, just literally messing about with it. And of course, the real issue is that it's not that they've made his face really back to normal. They've messed it up so bad. Like, they've been poking with it, that they're like, okay, we've got to leave it like that. So when Kunon comes in, and he sees Khan like that, he immediately suspects Khan of being a warlock here. It's like, no. Why would a warlock be sitting right here in plain sight? This be one heck of a bad disguise. Seriously, why was I about to get burnt alive over this? Like, were you about to like just see me and it's super like, warlock, get the burnout state and everything, blah 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 blah. As Kunon's just like, well, I thought, yeah, you may have disguised yourself to infiltrate the class. So that's why I came to this decision. As during lunch break, he meets up with Yusiomi, which is like a minor character from way back chapters ago. I had to like remind myself, like, okay, who's this character? Yeah, they encountered them before one chapter where they were introduced, where they had that big a big moment. But yeah, it's one of those characters where it's kind of like in the background. It's like, oh, remind me who this character is again. Then you go back, it's like, oh, it's that character. Yeah, just so many characters that show up one time and then don't reappear until like the most random of random moments in the series. But yeah, bottom line is that she's like taking the statue, and Carl's just like, oh, okay, I'll help you carry it. But as he's helping her carry it, two students bump into him, flattens his face like a pancake, and he literally gets like a face similar to the statue that he was holding. So yeah, it's a total mess, and it's actually quite but no, it's actually quite shapely with nice chisel features. It's just completely inverted, as Khan has no idea what this means, and he starts running off, like ignoring all the craziness that's going on around him and everything. And before you know it, even when two students are fighting, he still manages to get tangled up in it and gets smushed into Johnny and everything. And after all of this, he gets slammed into a door, becoming like paper, like kind of like what Nico does, like in the very first chapter and episode, when Nico, the very first spell she uses, turns it into that piece. One of the first spells that she uses turns it into that piece of paper. And yeah, this is literally what Khan turns into for the majority of this chapter, as Murray legitimately finds him, and it looks like he's struck up in a Tom and Jerry cartoon. But again, I would say this is more like Luffy Gear 5th Tomb Raider, which is actually based on like classic Western cartoons like Tom and Jerry and like Bugs Bunny and all of that. So maybe it is kind of appropriate here. But yeah, so Murray is just like, okay, just hang on there. We'll get too many Gorkas out of this. I'll bring you back into class. As he literally whirls Khan up like a carpet and starts carrying as Khan is just like, don't carry me like some sort of carpet. And as Murray as Murray's running, Khan's just like, I'm still a human being. Have a bit of respect for me. I'm not a piece of fabric they could just take up. And Murray's just like, I'll stop wiggling trying to explain this. If a teacher spots us, it will be a pain in the butt. And of course, the one teacher that they spot is Mr. Igaru, which is like the PE teacher that's like really frightened. This like buff gorilla type character, and the Murray at this point is just like, okay, what do I do? What do we do in this situation? Just put Khan in the locker. And of course, as he does this, and as Igari is demanding what to be seen in the locker, Khan pops out like he's literally a package being delivered, and he just winks at him. And Igari is just like, oh really? It's a pleasure. And after all that was said and done, Khan is finally back to normal. So thank God, all that crazy shenanigans and everything, and Khan is finally back to normal. So now that the end of the day is coming, Murray says to Khan, like, oh, I hope I modded you all the way back up, and Kegel weighs in on this conversation by saying, it looks good, but I think he's got too much creative liberties, and that he's way prettier than he should be. And yeah, Khan looks like a little bit different from what he normally is, but he's like, I don't care at this point, I just want to get home. I've had more than enough hassle today with this whole spat mate. And Murray says like, you really can't go a whole day without interacting with anyone, but that's one of your virtues, I guess. But yeah, Khan doesn't get what Murray is trying to say here, but it's basically saying like, look, you're much more sociable than either me and Wolf / Keigo, and that's what is a great asset to you, because you would be much more inclined to instantly just jump in, help someone in need, and in return they may be like, okay, we owe Khan a solid here. So Murray kind of knew like, okay, while Khan isn't as physically strong as us, he makes up for it being much more chivalrous. Yeah, I would say chivalrous than either Murray and Keigo. I would say that's a fair analysis here. Like Khan being the more chivalrous out of all the main males in the series. I would say it would be Khan, then Miryu, then Murray, and then Wolf / Keigo. Like being more chivalrous and being more open and more sociable than any of the others in the group. I'd say that's pretty fair, and that's what Murray's trying to say here. But Keigo realizes that, gets them focusing like, hey guys, we've got something that's going on here. A guy's on the top of the school roof, and he's about to jump off. He's just gonna go through a roof patch right now. We have to stop him. So we could either go up the stairs and run for it, but Khan's like, no, we've got something else to do. Hang on a second. I remember what you guys were saying at the beginning of the chapter. Pizza, turn me into a pizza, Murray. And Murray's just like, okay, you've got it. As Murray literally does what I said at the beginning of the chapter, like what Luffy does to Saturn and Kizaru and Egan. Literally turns Khan into a pizza, spins him around, stretches him out like pizza, and literally tosses him out at this student on the roof, way faster than running. And at this point, Khan looks like just a parachute, just like this flat cloth and everything. And Keigo's like saying to Murray, like, okay, now that he's up there, is he going to be able to take this guy down just by looking at that? I mean, what can he even do in this situation? And Murray's just saying like, yeah, I really didn't think that far ahead, so I guess it's just something that they're just going to have to take the time with here. But of course, as this happens, a gust of wind happens, and as Keigo's worrying, Murray's saying, no, they'll be fine, this is Khan after all. He won't hesitate, even if it means putting himself in danger. And of course, how does he do this? By turning himself into a parachute, into a balloon, so that the guy can just float down to the bottom. And Murray rounds out the shelter by saying he's kind of guy who will still hold out his hand to help as they end the chapter by walking away as Khan is a parachute, and him saying, don't carry me like a parachute. So pretty good chapter, all things considered. We had a nice character chapter for Charmy last week, and now we have a nice character chapter for Khan as well, with him thinking like, oh, I'm not, when it comes to combat, I feel like I don't pull the most weight, which is a nice little parallel to what Kegel was going through, like the one time, that the fact that he relied so much on Wolf that he felt inferior in his abilities, so much that he needed to ask Nemu for advice. And again, I feel like this is something similar here with Khan, and thinking that he feels inferior because he's not as strong and durable as Murray and Wolf. But like Murray said here, Khan is the type of guy who won't hesitate to just jump in there, get his hands dirty and help out those in need, because that's just the kind of guy he is. Now, like I said, what I liked most about this chapter is the fact that we're now acknowledging, like, okay, the characters are like settling down, training's happening, so it does mean that we might be eventually leading into the training arc. If not with this chapter, maybe this upcoming chapter, maybe the chapter after, because I know after the chapter that comes out on Sunday, there's going to be a break because it's holidays in Japan. So maybe after that chapter comes out, like chapter 213, that will be the starting of the training arc. But that's something we'll just have to wait and see. So anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.